If you're a fan of the Battle Royale genre, then this Ranzini Spotlight might be up your alley. I'm going to be taking a look at Darwin Project from Scavenger Studios. It's available right now on Xbox via the Xbox Game Preview as well as Steam Early Access. It retails for $15, and there is a 2-hour trial if you want to check out the game that way. I want to thank the developers for sending over a code for the purpose of this video. Now, as you guys know, I had really no interest in the Battle Royale genre, but I did kind of fall in love with PUBG. I have over 300 hours in the game. So with the fact that I kind of enjoy the Battle Royale kind of wave that's going on here, I was looking forward to playing Darwin Project to see what it brought to the table, to see what made it different than Fortnite and PUBG. Now, Darwin Project is a 10-player Battle Royale, which takes place in the snowy Canadian Rocky Mountains. Not only do you have to fight off the other 10 contestants to be the victor, but you also have to stave off the cold by crafting fires and finding warm clothing. You can actually find clues that will help you track down other contestants. You can lay traps down and use your 2 weapons to become victorious. That's right, you only have 2 weapons to choose from: your trusty axe that you use on the right trigger, or your bow and arrow. You hold left trigger to draw the bow and right trigger to fire. It features arcade-style third-person combat, and you do have some kind of futuristic powers that you can use once you find electronics, similar to supply drops that come in once in a while. You pick those up, you can get the power like teleportation, energy shield, camo, which of course have a cooldown. You use it once for about 20 seconds and then you can't use it again for an hour. But outside of the low player count, this one features 10 players. What makes it also stand out from the crowd is the show director. So not only can you play as one of the 10 contestants, you can also queue up to play as the show director. And the show director can change the match, he can help out a player, he can bully a player, he can try to make the game as hard as possible for everybody else by closing the zones unexpectedly, summoning a gravity storm, which features like ridiculously low gravity, so players are jumping around everywhere. In my case, when I was playing as the game director, 2 guys were fighting, and I gave one of them invincibility, which of course he then went on to kill the other person. You can set off a nuke in an area. I actually really enjoyed playing as a show director. In fact, I dropped an electronic in an area with 4 people around it, so they would try to come together. And then I set off a nuke. So not only were they coming together to get the electronic so they can get a better power, but at the same time, I let that nuke off, and they had to scatter, and I killed a couple of them in the process. I actually really enjoyed the show director part of the game. Now, as for the actual game, the 10-player Battle Royale, it's okay. It's okay. At first, I didn't really care for it, but I played about 10 to 12 matches now. I've actually won a game, and the more I play it, the better I like it. It's an arcade version of Battle Royale. When you start out in the game, you can you craft a bunch of different arrows of fire to you know, keep yourself cold, because the cold can kill you, and if you end up in a forbidden zone, you're basically dead. So you go around, and unlike PUBG or Fortnite where you're scavenging for weapons and ammo, in this game you're basically using a crafting system to create armor for yourself, to give your axe more power, to give yourself a fur cloak to stave off the effects of the cold, finding electronics to get those cool powers, laying traps down, because that is how you kind of track your prey. So when you cut down a tree, for example, somebody could come along and find the tree that you cut down and inspect it, and then kind of be notified of your whereabouts, and then the footsteps will kind of glow in the snow, and then they follow and you'll have a battle. And like the other games, there is like a kind of zone structure here. There's 9 zones or 10 zones, and as time goes by, each zone is kind of forbidden, which means like insta-death, basically. So at the end, there's only one zone remaining, and whoever wins, wins. But my biggest issue with the game at this point is the aiming system. Because you're only given a bow and arrow, and because it does take time to draw it, and the arrow does take time to travel, the fact that it is a little bit slow to aim, but since the players move so fast and jump around like Mario, it can be a little hard to actually line up your shots. You're more kind of predicting where they're going to be rather than actually having the cursor on them, unless of course they're standing still. You know, the scavenging aspect is cool, and crafting what you want is interesting because in between each game or in the lobby, you can actually change out. Do you want a regular arrow? Do you want to use a hunter arrow? Do you want to use a ninja arrow? And there's all different types of things that give different specific stats towards it. Like if you hit somebody with the hunter arrow, it does an X amount of damage, but reveals them to you for 15 seconds. A regular arrow does more damage, but doesn't have that, you know, hunter ability and so forth and so on. And there's a bunch of different things you can choose from in between each of the matches. But originally, like I said, didn't really care for it. The more I played, the more I enjoyed it, and I actually really enjoy the show director. I like being able to watch the other players play and take, I kind of took pleasure in helping somebody out who was about to die, giving them more health. You know, as they were in a fight and about to get killed by somebody, I made sure that they had more health so they could come back and take the other person out, or if somebody was just being too good, I put a manhunt out on them. I actually really enjoyed that aspect of the game. Of course, it takes a little bit longer to find a game where you can be the show director because there's only one per game. I actually enjoyed that a lot more than the actual 10-player Battle Royale. But yeah, would I recommend Darwin Project? Well, it does have a 2-hour trial, so you can try it for yourself. The issue here, once again, is I'm not much of a solo player in these Battle Royale games. I like playing with a squad, and Darwin Project doesn't have a duo mode available yet. It is coming soon. It'll be 5 teams of 2, but right now it's only solo, and it's only the game director. So with that in mind, I know the price point is pretty cheap. I honestly, unless you're a big fan of the Battle Royale and you're a solo player, it's kind of tough to recommend this game at its current state. It is a game preview game. There is some lagginess with the frame rate here and there that I think they'll kind of iron out. But honestly, I would wait for a full feature suite. The duo mode, the better kind of frame rate, and maybe a little changing of how the aiming works. Because, you know, the combat, it needs to be good. And the melee isn't very good. It's just people swinging at each other. And the aiming is a little bit tough because of how the players move around and jump around everywhere. But I definitely check the game out, use the free trial, and see if you do like it. But it's kind of hard to recommend it currently at the state it's in. But then again, it is only $15. So check out Darwin Project, available right now in Xbox Game Preview and Steam Early Access. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, share it out on social media, hit that sub button and the notification bell so you're always notified when I drop new content. And I'll see everybody in the next video.